Hello, my name is TJ. This is my exploratory presentation for my world civilization class. I chose Mesopotamia and Egypt for my presentation because I thought they can be clear examples to show what and how great civilization look like in multiple perspectives. Now I begin my presentation. I'd like to begin my presentation by Mesopotamia first. The first remarkable achievement that attracted my attention is that the first ever city was built there. The city is called Uruk. A city is not a city is not formed at any place. Ample water, organized labor force, and growing population were necessary in the appearance of this city. The two pictures in the second row show the reservoirs that people of Mesopotamia built to control floods. They also made dams and dikes. The ancient Mesopotamians, along with the ancient Egyptians, were highly reliant on irrigation systems, getting water from Euphrates and Tigris River. These were essential parts to their agriculture. Mesopotamians built temples in the center of their cities. As the temples grew into elaborate complexes, they began to be used as storage space for grain and housing for animals. Mesopotamians believed in many gods and godnesses, and each one represented cosmic forces like the sun, moon, water, and etc. Kings made alliances with other powerful individuals through marriage. Kings began to work closely with religious powers. Kings also relied on religious authorities for their power and their military might. People discovered a way for clay tokens to be used. This became the foundation of a writing system called cuneiform. Hammurabi's law was proclaimed by Hammurabi. This provided a wealth of information about daily life. Now I'm going to talk about Egyptian achievements. A king in ancient Egypt was considered as a son of gods or a god himself. So the king played a role both politically and religiously. The basic religious concept in Egypt was polytheism, as in Mesopotamia. The ancient Egyptians invented two writing systems, hieroglyphics and hieratic. Most most ordinary people were farmers. Marriage was used for business arrangement. Like in Mesopotamia, women could have rights to own land, estates, and business. As I went over the two civilizations, I could find multiple common traits between the two. First, both civilizations were highly dependent on irrigation systems. Mesopotamia got water supply from Euphrates and Tigris rivers, and it was Nile River as the source of water to Egypt. Both had polytheistic religious background. Women in both were not completely excluded to some rights, since they could have estate, land, and business. The two made their own writing system. The types were different though. Anyhow, they could leave written records by using them. Marriage was an important medium in a diplomatic manner. There might be tons of differences between the two civilizations, but I put here what I think more important. The first part, a geographical difference. Mesopotamia was supplied water from the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Egypt got water from the Nile River. Second, kings in Mesopotamia worked closely with priests, so it means the combination of political and religious power. However, it is only kings who exerted power in Egypt. Mesopotamia had fewer social structures than Egypt. Mesopotamia had kings, priests, artisans, peasants, and slaves. What Egypt had more was government officials, scribes, and soldiers. People in Egypt viewed their kings as gods, but kings in Mesopotamia were viewed just as kings. Mesopotamians used cuneiform, and Egyptians used hieroglyph. Here are the criteria I personally think to be a great civilization. The common features between Mesopotamia and Egypt gave me lots of realistic conditions. First, it is water. Without it, no nature, no human beings can survive. Therefore, no civilization can form. Fertile land should be essential to grow crops, and crops could always become major part for living things. If a society has a leader, he or she should have unique wisdom and insightful knowledge on how to keep his or her country healthy and prosperous. The king the king should have powerful labor force that can be mobilized at any time the king wants to build something. Words can leave records of events and matters of yesterday, and we call this history. By looking back history, people can expect to try to bring better future. This page covers the differences between 21st century and the two civilizations. First, the social states are usually even in the 21st century. Second, agriculture technology has been going highly developed, which cannot be compared to the one in ancient time. Men and women usually marry because they love each other. It might go for business purposes for only a few cases. In the past agricultural society, farmers were the major portion of all classes. However, they are a few in developed countries of the 21st century. Lastly, many of the recent languages have much more systematic and organized features than the ancient writing systems. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening.